Welcome to A Course in Miracles workbook for students, lesson 181. I trust my brothers who are one with me. There is a small introduction for lessons 181 through 200, so I'm going to read that introduction. Our next few lessons make a special point affirming up your willingness to make your weak commitment strong, your scattered goals blend into one intent. You are not asked for total dedication all the time as yet, but you are asked to practice now in order to attain the sense of peace such unified commitment will bestow, if only intermittently. It is experiencing this that makes it sure that you will give your total willingness to following the way the Course sets forth. Our lessons now are geared specifically to widening horizons and direct approaches to the special blocks that keep your vision narrow and too limited to let you see the value of your goal. We are attempting now to lift these blocks, however briefly. Words alone cannot convey the sense of liberation which their lifting brings, but the experience of freedom and of peace that comes as you give up your tight control of what you see speaks for itself. Your motivation will be so intensified that words become of little consequence. You will be sure of what you want and what is valueless. I'll pause and say, so in other words, it's going to be really obvious as you go along what this sense of liberation brings to your life. And so we start our journey beyond words by concentrating first on what impedes your progress still. Experience of what exists beyond defensiveness remains beyond achievement while it is denied. It may be there, but you cannot accept its presence. So we now attempt to go past all defenses for a little while each day. No more than this is asked because no more than this is needed. It will be enough to guarantee the rest will come. That's really beautiful. Right now, we still phase in and out of feeling like defensiveness, defending ourselves keeps us safe, not realizing that it is in defending ourselves that we are attacked. It is this defensiveness that is making us vulnerable. Lesson 181, I trust my brothers who are one with me. Trusting your brothers is essential to establishing and holding up your faith in your ability to transcend doubt and lack of sure conviction in yourself. When you attack a brother, you proclaim that he is limited by what you have perceived in him. You do not look beyond his errors. Rather, they are magnified, becoming blocks to your awareness of the self that lies beyond your own mistakes, past his seeming sense as well as yours. I'll pause and say, when we're condemning others, we may or may not realize it, but on an unconscious level, we're condemning ourselves because we know that we've also sinned according to the world's definition of sin. We've also made mistakes. So when we look at others with harshness, we are also on some level looking at ourselves with that same harshness, that same condemnation. Perception has a focus. It is this that gives consistency to what you see. Change but this focus, and what you behold will change accordingly. Your vision now will shift to give support to the intent, which has replaced the one you held before. Remove your focus on your brother's sin, and you experience the peace that comes from faith in sinlessness. This faith receives its only sure support from what you see in others past their sins. For their mistakes, if focused on, are witnesses to sins in you. And you will not transcend their sight and see the sinlessness that lies beyond. Therefore, in practicing today, we first let all such little focuses give way to our great need to let our sinlessness become apparent. We instruct our minds that it is this we seek and only this for just a little while. We do not care about our future goals, and what we saw in instant previous has no concern for us within this interval of time wherein we practice changing our intent. We seek for innocence and nothing else. I'm just going to pause and say that is such a powerful intention. We seek for innocence and nothing else. We seek for it with no concern but now. A major hazard to success has been involvement with your past and future goals. You have been quite preoccupied with how extremely different the goals this course is advocating are from those you held before. And you have also been dismayed by the depressing and restricting thought that even if you should succeed, you will inevitably lose your way again. How could this matter? For the past is gone, the future but imagined. These concerns are but defenses against present change of focus in perception, nothing more. We lay these pointless limitations by a little while. We do not look to past beliefs, and what we will believe will not intrude upon us now. We enter in the time of practicing with one intent, with one intent, to look upon the sinlessness within. We recognize that we have lost this goal if anger blocks our way in any form. And if a brother's sin occurs to us, our narrowed focus will restrict our sight and turn our eyes upon our own mistakes, which we will magnify and call our sins. So for a little while, without regard to past or future, should such blocks arise, we will transcend them with instructions to our minds to change their focus, as we say, "It is not this that I would look upon. I trust my brothers who are one with me." Wow, that is so beautiful. I'm going to pause and say, this can be really, really difficult if we're body identified and if we're hyper-focusing on specifics in a situation. If we go into analytics and go, yeah, but I said this and they said that, and that's wrong, and I could look it up in a dictionary and I could prove that's wrong, and going into being litigious instead of loving, this will be impossible in that frame of mind. We're being asked to look past the appearances, nurture and nature of the character they're playing, and look at the true essence of who they are. Yeah, we've all made mistakes, and mistakes are how a human learns, through trial and error. God does not look upon mistakes as sin. Of course, it's wise to learn from our mistakes and move past them. But it doesn't change the inherent worth of you or anyone else that they have made mistakes. And we will also use this thought to keep us safe throughout the day. We do not seek for long-range goals. As each obstruction seems to block the vision of our sinlessness, we seek but for surcease an instant from the misery the focus upon sin will bring, and uncorrected will remain. So I'll pause and say, this is really beautiful. It's the be here now, stay present in this moment. We're not going to live ahead with a future focus, thinking about what might happen and what about this and contingency plans. We're going to let that go for now. Through these specific lessons, we're being asked to have a very much present intent right here, right now. We're letting go of the past. We're not worrying about the future. We realize that the past is gone. It doesn't exist. The future's not here yet. It doesn't exist. We're going to stay in reality right here, right now. Let the future take care of itself. The past is already gone. We do not seek for long-range goals. As each obstruction seems to block the vision of our sinlessness, we seek but for surcease an instant from the misery the focus upon sin will bring, and uncorrected will remain. Nor do we ask for fantasies. I'll pause and say fantasies are always of the future. Recrimination is what we tend to do with the past, and fantasy is what we tend to do with the future. Neither one based in reality. For what we seek to look upon is really there. And as our focus goes beyond mistakes, we will behold a wholly sinless world. When seeing this is all we want to see, when this is all we seek for in the name of true perception, are the eyes of Christ inevitably ours, and the love he feels for us becomes our own as well. I just want to pause and say, wow. Sometimes I read a sentence and go, wow, wow, wow. This will become the only thing we see reflected in the world and in ourselves. The world which once proclaimed our sins becomes the proof that we are sinless, and our love for everyone we look upon attests to our remembrance of the Holy Self, which knows no sin, and never could conceive of anything without its sinlessness. We seek for this remembrance as we turn our minds to practicing today. We look neither ahead nor backwards. We look straight into the present. And we give our trust to the experience we ask for now. Our sinlessness is but the will of God. This instant is our willing one with his. So when I was younger, when I was a child, I would catch myself often not wanting to look at my part in anything, but doing the blame game of, but he did this and he did that. Well, yeah, sure, I hit him back, but he hit me first. Well, sure, I was calling him names, but he called me names too. And it goes back and forth like that. And when we're done playing the blame game, and that's not to excuse anyone else's horrible behavior. That's for them. That's their accountability. But other people are not responsible for how I choose to treat them. I am responsible for that. And I'm not responsible for how others have chosen to treat me. They are responsible for how they have chosen to treat me. And it's that radical self-accountability that allows us to stay in the present moment, because we're staying out of fantasy about this might happen and I'm going to project this and what if that, and this is what I want, this is what I don't want, and also allows me to let go of grievances from the past. I'm only responsible for me right here, right now, in this now moment. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow for lesson 182.